Hi, good morning, everybody. We will be starting the webinar in a minute, just under a minute or so. We're just going to wait for everybody to join, and then we will get started. I think we will get going now. I think there's a few more people coming in, but I can start my section anyway. So welcome, everybody. My name is Rhian Jenkins. I'm the head of marketing and admissions for Bucksmore Education. And today we're going to have a special webinar with some of our great external partners that are working with us on our young professionals courses. Specifically today, we're going to talk about the courses that are running in Oxford. So we had a similar London version at the end of last year, which you can watch back if you would like to. But today we'll just focus on our Oxford courses. So as I go through the presentation, please, if you do have any questions as things come up, please do ask them, and we'll get to them at various points during the talk. So as I said, these are all of our courses that we have available for the summer. Hopefully, a lot of our agent partners are very familiar with all of the options that we have. And today we're really going to hone in on the middle section, so the young professionals courses for our 13 to 17-year-old students and students that have sort of that intermediate up to native level of English. So I'm going to start by playing a short video, which is just a very quick recap of a little bit of last summer, actually. So hopefully this will explain a little bit more about the Young Professionals course. Okay, so that was just a very quick snippet. We do have a longer version of that video if you would like to have a look at that on our YouTube channel or on our website as well. But hopefully that just gives you a little bit of a taster. And I just wanted to draw on some of the things that were mentioned in the video. So in a nutshell, the Young Professionals course really combines academic theory and classroom teaching in a range of exciting subjects, as well as sort of real world experience. I think that the wording on the video was, immersive work experience. So students get the opportunity to really see what it's like to have a taster of these industries and these professions, to hopefully come back with a much clearer idea of what they might like to do in the future. So that's why, the beginning of the video, it says, unlock your future. This is really the starting point for a lot of students who may be starting to think about university study or certainly their career prospects. Even at the age 13 to 17, it is very much something that a lot of our international students are starting to think about. So this course it's a 2-week immersive program. It's really designed for, I think, ambitious individuals, people that really want to take that step forward in their learning. So it involves, as I said, a blend of academic learning, real world industry experience, and we're delighted to have our industry partners with us today, and they are going to talk about the Capstone industry projects that we do, or that students do, and all of their experience with doing that. And then there's also, as I said, theory and sort of classroom studies. And then, it is a summer camp, so there is lots of activities and excursions as well. With our excursions on the Young Professionals course, we have one excursion a week or 2 half days if you're in London, where there'll be sort of something fun and cultural, maybe going to a new city to explore. And the other one will be an industry workshop. And I'll come on to those later to give you a few examples of some of the industry workshops that we have planned for this year. At the end of the course, all of our students will get a certificate from us, from Bucksmore, but they also get a certificate from our industry partners as well. So this can be the basis and sort of the starting point of a portfolio of work and a portfolio or certificate of work to show what they've done. So they'll have the project and the certificate as well. So just to pick up a couple of key points that are mentioned on the slide here, as I said, there are 25 hours of subject tuition. That includes the industry projects and the presentations. Our class sizes are maximum of 12 students. So students really get to kind of learn and immerse themselves within a relatively small group. We have 2.5 days of excursions per week, including the industry workshop, as I mentioned. And students on this course would need to have an intermediate level of English to be able to kind of cope with the types of learning that we'll be doing on the course, or up to native level, of course. So we do also have native speakers that take this course as well. If students are unsure, if you're not sure what level students are at, then we do have a placement test for students to take if they need it. And then you can see the dates there, the 8th of July start date. So there's 2 enrolment dates, which will be the 8th of July or the 22nd of July, and with the course finishing on the 5th of August. So it is a 2-week minimum course. This is just due to the nature of the projects that we do, which we'll talk about in a moment, because it really does take that time to be able to complete those projects. So it wouldn't be able to be done with just a 1-week course. Even within 2 weeks, it's quite ambitious in what we're trying to do, but we manage it with the 2-week program. So I'll just quickly show you the timetable for the standard for all of our courses. So some of our partners will be very, very familiar with the way that our timetable works. All of our arrivals are always on a Tuesday, arrivals and departures on a Tuesday. So then the next day on the Wednesday will be the first sort of morning briefing and subject theory, as well as subject practical sessions. I won't go through every single element, but as you can see in the evening, we always have some evening activities available. And as you can see, you've got the full day industry workshops, which will usually take place on a Friday. And then the other day, so the Saturday, for example, would be another full day excursion. So that could be going to Cambridge. We usually have on another half day excursion for Oxford, where you'll go into the centre of Oxford and do a different activity there as well. So we are going to go through the courses briefly, and then I'm going to bring in our partners, because I think this is going to be hopefully the most interesting part of the presentation. So firstly, the first course that we have in Oxford is Architecture and the Built Environment. We have run this course here for a couple of years, and it's always been very, very popular. So students will gain on this course, hands-on experience in architecture and urban planning. They will explore design concepts, sustainable construction, and real-world projects as well. So this course is really ideal for students who are interested in art, design, urban planning, sustainable development. And of course, if anybody is thinking about studying architecture in the future, this is a really good stepping point because of the portfolio of work that they will gain from the projects that they do. And quite closely linked to engineering, because they do a project together, but we also have a separate engineering course, and the topic areas each week for this course will include things like the principles of design, planning and prototyping, sustainable engineering, and also looking at the role of the engineer. So learning to sort of evaluate social, economic and environmental impact of projects in different global contexts. So hopefully by the end of the 2 weeks, students will have a better understanding of the engineering industry from a sort of commercial and a technical perspective. So now I'm going to bring in Rob Lloyd, who's kindly joined us this morning, and he is going to introduce the company that they work with, which is Class of Your Own, and then Rob's going to talk about the project that the architecture and engineering students will do together.
Thanks, Rhian, and good morning to everybody. Yeah, my name is Rob Lloyd. I'm representing Class of Your Own here today, and we'll be running the Capstone project for architecture in the built environment, as well as those interested in engineering pathway. Class of Your Own is a social enterprise, and for over a decade, we've been connecting young people with the built environment professions through project-based learning, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. Myself, I've got over 12 years of teaching experience, and the rest of the team have even more experience than that. We've been delivering DEC programs, that's Design, Engineer, Construct programs, for over a decade in schools across the UK and across the world. And we're present in this program to deliver a project-based learning brief for those interested in architecture and the built environment. Recently, we've also working with harder to reach learners and NEETs in the UK. So the DEC programs are attractive for those taking a very academic approach from a young age, all the way to young people that need that second chance and to enter a profession. If we could go to the next slide, please. Thank you. And here we've got a little bit more information about the actual brief, project brief that the students are going to be working on. This was a brief that was created along with industry partners. So it's really up to date in terms of its approach to design and technology and sustainability. The brief is to design a rehabilitation centre for Paralympians. So they'll be designing a medical building with all the considerations that you can imagine that go along with that, the very sensitive nature of the user needs, as well as the staff needs, as well as creating a highly sustainable building. It's project-based learning, which means the learners take on different roles within teams, so they need to work collaboratively. They'll be engaged in a lot of problem solving and team working, and they'll also be stretched in their presentation abilities. They'll be asked to present their project to a panel of industry experts at the end of the program. Hopefully they will find a newfound appreciation of the need for accessibility and inclusive spaces in public buildings, and of people with all physical abilities. The sessions are going to be facilitated by the Class of Your Own team, but we will be joined by a range of industry professionals, including architects and engineers and land surveyors and sustainability experts, as well as healthcare professionals as well, who give that insight into the needs of this building. On the right-hand side there, you've got the project phases that we run through. So we start by introducing the brief, of course, and understand what the client's requirements are. We spend a lot of time focusing on user needs. Buildings are really all about people before aesthetics. So we need to understand what the requirements of this building are from a user perspective. And we also take a realistic look at a site where this building could be constructed and conduct a site analysis. Much of the time, though, is in the concept design and the technical design of this building, where students will be doing lots of drawing, lots of talking, lots of debating, I'm sure, about what they think is best, as well as model making and creating technical drawings. And like I said, there will be a presentation of their projects at the end. Thanks, Rhian. Next slide, please. And here, just finally, just a little snapshot of the learners that took part last year. I want to just emphasize that Class of Your Own's approach is a project-based learning approach where skills and knowledge are acquired through an application to a real-world scenario. So students are totally engaged with a task at all times. There's no lectures here. It's about problem solving and working with the professionals that are in the room to come up with the best solution possible. And it's incredible fun too. You can see that the students really enjoyed the variety of activities, from kind of engaging with land surveying equipment to sitting down and working out problems with the architects and engineers. So if there is interest in the built environment professions from a design perspective or a technical perspective, or indeed if they're interested in sort of land development and property development, these jobs like project management and construction management, all of these roles are touched on within this project. So I hope that appeals to some. Thanks, Rhian.
Brilliant, thank you, Rob. So Rob actually needs to leave us in about five minutes. He's got some teaching. So if anybody has any questions specifically related to the architecture and engineering project, or about class of your own, or about Rob specifically, if anyone has any questions, please do put them in now, because he won't be able to stay until the end. So I'll just pause for a moment if anybody, and see if any questions come through.
And I'm sure, Rhian, if any questions do come through after I've left, I can follow them up by email and get a response to people.
Brilliant, that would be great, thank you. Okay, I'm not seeing anything at the moment, so I think we'll move on. Thank you so much, Rob, for that introduction and for joining us. Thank you. Okay, we will move on to our next course that we're going to talk about. So the other course we have, the third course we have in Oxford, is AI and Computer Science. Again, this is a course that we hosted last year, again in Dover again. And it will look at the comprehensive foundation of artificial intelligence and computer science to build a solid sort of understanding of those concepts. So students will actually learn to read, write, and debug codes in languages like Java and Python. They will develop problem-solving skills, including analysis techniques, and implementing data structures, and look at machine learning and human-computer learning as well. So a very kind of interesting course for anybody that has obviously an interest in those areas. So I'm going to hand over now to Neil, who's kindly joined us from Computer Explorers. They will be working with our AI and computer science students on the Capstone project. So I will hand over to Neil now.
Hi there, I'm Neil Melville. That is not me in the picture. That is my colleague Alan, and that is Stuart, who owns the franchise. Alan and myself are both franchisees of Computer Explorers, which is become quite a global enterprise now. Our background is in teaching. We started teaching nurseries, teaching computer science concept in nurseries, then moved through to primary schools, and now we're also in secondary schools. So our business is comprised out of engaging tech activities across computer science and robotics, and as well as AI now, which is emerging. And we do that in summer camps. We do that as evening academies. My franchise has got an extensive online school as well, which is UK-wide. And it's all about teaching a very, very important skill, which we believe is code. A lot of the jobs of the future haven't even emerged yet. And I think a lot of them are going to be based in coding. And especially here in the United Kingdom, we are crying out for game developers. The game industry is kind of on its knees in regards to having enough developers in order to finish products and getting things done. So I decided to create this course. Alan is more on the marketing side and the front side. He couldn't be here today, so I'm here instead. I wrote the curriculum, I wrote the course. We are going to be looking at, if we actually go to the next slide, that'd be great. It's going to be focusing on a platform called Unity. So we'll be teaching the children how to use the Unity editor. The nice thing about Unity is that it works on equipment. You don't have to have outstanding equipment for it to be used on, so it's really accessible for children and younger learners. We can be teaching them a language called C#, and we're also using Python. I've added an artificial intelligence module this time, which is machine learning using Python, where the children are going to have to learn to, or the young learners are going to have to learn to use data sets based on the Titanic. and the computer is going to actually have to learn and be able to churn out what it thinks the outcomes of the Titanic will be, which will be really interesting to see it. The background of how AI works. The other AI elements that we're introducing as well is how AI is used as a tool and a time-saving device. The learners are going to have to create storyboards for their computer games as well, which they'll be using artificial intelligence to help them churn that out so they can use that for their game design. And we'll also be using AI to check their code. The brief that all the students will have to research a multitude of British museums, and they're going to look into how computer games are used as an educational tool. You'll notice that on most websites, you can go on, students are able to click onto a little computer game and they're able to learn more. So if they were learning about Vikings at school, for example, and your child decides, well, we want to teach them more about the invasion of Lindisfarne, they can create a 2D platformer of the Vikings invading Lindisfarne, or they can create a 3D modeled game to help teach children more about the chosen topic. So once they've researched the museums and decided what they're going to do, they'll use, as I said previously, the AI tool to churn out the storyboard. The storyboard is a vital element in order to create the narrative of the computer game, because all games require a narrative. So there's an English element in this course as well. They'll learn to use 2D and 3D design tools, so creating different tile templates using the Unity editor. They can choose whether they want it to be a 2D game or a 3D game. We'll be using templates for them to, as we only have, I think, about 20 hours, so we'll be using templates for them to springboard off. And then once they've created those and designed those elements, they will then learn how to use C# to code various elements of those games as well. And then the last component will then be to evaluate. We want the students to be able to evaluate one another's work, and then we'll publish that so that can then be accessed by yourselves at home. Yeah, and I think that's all we have for now. It was well received last year. It was a great course. There was so much learning to be done, and the quality of the games that the students produced was actually really outstanding. And it was actually fun because they create a product where you can sit and you can then play on your PC, which was really fun. And it was wonderful to meet all the different students from across the world. So we're looking forward to you guys signing up. I believe the maximum size of the class is 12 students, and really looking forward to coming down to Oxford and coming to work with some of our instructors and to meet all of you. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you, Neil. I noticed there was a question in the Q&A. Just to clarify, I assume for this course, students would need to bring their own laptops to be able to work with the Unity platform.
Yes, that's what we did last time. But if there's an issue with equipment, then what we'll do is we'll provide some of our own as well.
Yeah, I believe for architecture and engineering, it would be laptops required, and I think for business and marketing, although Peter can probably clarify, I think it would be beneficial for all students on the young professionals courses to have a laptop with them. But if there are any issues, then obviously let us know and we can see what we can do.
What we will do is I've created a series of YouTube videos which will help with the downloading and installing of Unity, so everything is prepped before they come through. Obviously, that will save a bit of time. So
Amazing.
I've got some instructions which I will send through to you that you can send out to all the students who've signed on, and that way we hit the ground running.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay, thank you, Neil. Okay, if anybody has any questions regarding the AI and computer science course, again, put them in the Q&A. We'll come to questions in a little bit. So finally, the final course I want to talk about in Oxford is our Young Professionals Business and Marketing course. The last year we had a business related course in Oxford, and this year we've decided to actually split out into two sort of strains or streams of business. So in London, students can study business and finance. And in Oxford, we're focusing more on business and marketing. And this is based on the project that they'll do, and also, I guess, the expertise that we have with working with our partner, Go Create. So it makes sense to kind of focus a little bit more on that area. So this course specifically will look at various aspects of starting and running a business, idea generation, market research, business planning, looking at marketing strategies, as well as sort of financial management a little bit as well, and problem solving. But it will be, I guess, a little bit more directed into the creative media area, based on, as I said, the expertise that we have within our partners. So I'm going to hand over to Peter, and we've got Caroline with us as well from Go Create Academy, who will tell us a little bit more about themselves and the project as well.
Thanks very much, Rhian. That's great. Rhian, I'm also actually going to play a couple of movies, so I don't know whether it's possible to briefly just have my window as the full window and not share the slides. I don't know if that is possible. Then I can play a movie and talk through what we're doing. That'd be great. Thanks. Thank you.
And
that's great.
Can spotlight for everyone.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome to the Business Entrepreneurship and Visual Capstone project. More than just a course, it's a hand-on experience designed to equip you with storytelling, podcasting, and mobile filming skills, vital for effective business communication, marketing, and promotion. Here, entrepreneurial spirit meets creative minds together to develop comprehensive business plans and establish compelling brand identities. Over the course of 2 enriching weeks, this intensive workshop provides a balanced blend of theory and practice. Session 1 begins the journey, laying a solid foundation by covering entrepreneurship fundamentals, idea generation, and branding. Session 2 takes you into the realms of business model development, design principles, and filmmaking essentials. In Session 3, you'll delve into financial forecasting, brand identity, marketing strategy, and podcasting. Finally, in Session 4, the acquired knowledge and skills are put to the test in a climatic pitch to investors. This course is taught through a blended learning approach. The aim is to keep you actively engaged using group work and team projects, fostering collaboration, creativity, and peer-to-peer learning. Your progress and participation forms the basic of our assessment. In the end, successfully presenting your final podcast and video project not only grants you a certificate of completion, but honors your newly acquired skills in entrepreneurial storytelling. Here at the Capstone Project, we strive to provide a rewarding, comprehensive education that shapes successful entrepreneurs and creatives.
So everybody, great to see you. I'm just in my studio, basically in London at the moment, just going through all the different things. So excuse me while you see a plethora of different equipment everywhere. Yeah, so basically we're going to dive into why the creative marketing skills such as vlogging and storytelling and podcasting are critical, not only for solopreneurs, but also basically entrepreneurs of any company. And what I'm going to do is just briefly play through some slides so that you can see what some of the things we're covering here. I'll just go to my slides now. You should be able to see that. And yep, as you can see that the, let me just go to my slides, sorry, one moment. Here we go here. Yeah, so basically the first thing that I need to stress is all the participants gain access to HubSpot. And HubSpot is an amazing customer relationship manager. And we have a partnership with HubSpot that basically allow any student who are working with us to have complete access to every single function of the enterprise version of HubSpot, and they have access for 1 year if they're on the Capstone project. And the key thing to is to get behind why are we doing this. So the the real thing about the definition of influencer marketing is how important it is in today's world, and how that all major companies, be they brands, be they solopreneurs, be they entrepreneurs, are using influencer marketing to influence and therefore sell in their market space. And so we cover very briefly the understanding of the influencer marketing strategies. Using HubSpot, we go from everything from the customer acquisition process, where those customers are, how they talk to each other, what they're doing, where they hang out, to how we take that customer on a journey, and then how that influences the business side of things, how we expand the brand reach and visibility. In this case, it would be the individual students, or as collaborating groups of students that work on project, and how they create an event or a podcast or an iPhone app or Android app to connect and build trust with the target audience. And that's why it would eventually starts to see the importance of boosting brand awareness, and how utilizing influencers that align with a brand's product services actually increase visibility with that target audience, and of course improve the trust. And we also use all the functions built into HubSpot, things like influencer marketing, digital marketing, social media marketing, to build various campaigns or isolated campaigns to in turn leads into better conversion rates, and therefore the measurable results. And what's really important about this, and I'm going to hand over to Caroline in just a second, is how that this is all about building a product. So everything has a tangible outcome where the students are expected to either collaboratively work together to build, as I say, a strategy that leads to a tangible piece of content like a podcast or a vlog, or indeed an event or iPhone app. I shall hand over to Caroline now, who might be able to just carry on and give you some examples of what happened last year and some of the wonderful work that was created.
Thanks, Peter. Hello, everyone. Great to be here today. We really had a wonderful time last year. We had a class who was, just buzzing with creative ideas. I think a lot of the students that come, especially to our course, they come feeling like, I just want to tell a story. I just want to get my hands on some videos, some podcasts. But we really put that, as Peter said, into perspective of the wider industry. So really thinking, okay, so you're loving social media, you're loving video, you want to get creative with your phone, with your friends. Our backgrounds have been very heavily in television, broadcasting, journalism. So me and Peter, and especially the rest of our team, were very interested in the storytelling aspects and how that relates to bigger and wider business strategies. So, for example, last year, we asked all of the students to plan a real life event. So we're not just thinking about what event they could do and how fun it could be. We're also thinking about financial considerations, comparing other real life industry examples of how they could actually base their event on that, thinking about brand building, thinking about how they shoot and edit video in real life scenarios. So we get them practically going out and about in teams, mixing with each other, people from other nationalities as well. So we really get the groups looking into different cultural aspects as well. I'm just going to play you a quick video of last year, just so that you can kind of see the idea of the kind of setup that we had in the hall. Now you can see how many students, you guys can see my screen, right? Yep. You can see just how many students we have, where we're talking about these practical elements of filmmaking and influencer marketing strategies. What we'll do is we'll have them all together like this, and we'll talk to them about exactly how we actually go and do this, and then set them a practical exercise to go outside. So each session with us, they're building on this marketing strategy. So by the end of the week, they're ready to present to us their idea. And this will always consist of a PowerPoint, as you can see here, with videos in that, whether that's for developing their app or their festival or whatever event that might be that we're asking them to produce. So by the end of the week, they have a really tangible presentation that they can show us with market change market trends, financial considerations, other companies that they're going to work with, and so on and so forth. And that leads to a really wonderful discussion with all of the team where they're all giving each other feedback. They're all following each other's social media platforms. They're all looking at what they could do better, and so on and so forth. So it's a really exciting course where we can put their interests that they have. You know, a lot of them as younger people, they're interested in this kind of stuff anyway, but actually we're going to put that into this real life scenario for actually how that's going to be used in the real world and in business.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Peter and Caroline. Just before we move on, I thought it might be, just in case anybody is not aware of Go Create and Go Create Academy, maybe just summarise a bit about the company in general and what you guys do.
Thanks, Rhian. If you want to, I can play a video. It's only a short video. Is that easier?
Yes.
2 secs. Okay.
Go Create Academy design and deliver a globally recognized series of new online creative media courses and qualifications, delivered by world-class experts in partnership with respected broadcasters, brands, and educational institutions. We have several world firsts creating unique employment-focused courses for an ever-changing workplace. Qualifications in vlogging, podcasting, storytelling, mobile filmmaking, all the way from junior levels up to full-blown degree courses. With bases in Dublin, London, Singapore, and Dubai, we're focused on disrupting the education and training sector to make learning as easy as calling an Uber. Helping people learn when, where, and how they want. In London, we're based in the prestigious Ealing Film Studios, steeped in rich creative heritage, where we strive to bring the latest technologies to help people learn online. The Go Create co-founders are Peter Stone and Susan Hickey. Peter was a concert pianist, won 2 Lloyd Webber Piano Awards, and was the youngest ever examiner of the London College of Music. He worked for Roland, the electronic music manufacturer, and toured the world working with such luminaries as Madonna, Kenny Rogers, Leo Sayer, and many others. He became head of production at Capital Radio Group before setting up his own creative agency, delivering advertising campaigns and projects for companies like Samsung, Unilever, Coca-Cola, and View Cinemas. He combines his musical, technological, research, and scientific understanding as a global platform speaker, and is a passionate philanthropist about online learning. Susan Hickey is an award-winning media presenter, producer, author, and entrepreneur. She's worked across TV, radio, and online as a presenter and interviewer around the world, including UK's Channel 4, Spain's Mobuzz TV, and Ireland's RTE, covering diverse subject matters from technology to finance. She's currently the host of GCTV Live. Susan is a pioneering entrepreneur, recently recognised by the Irish government, where President Michael D. Higgins invited Susan to the presidential house to receive an award as one of Ireland's top female business leaders. She's the co-author and presenter of the world's first academic qualification in vlogging, and is a platform speaker at media and educational events as far afield as Singapore and Kuala Lumpur. Go Create Academy are passionate about developing creativity, critical analysis, and problem-solving skills. We work with an amazing team from around the world to do this, promoting a diverse, culturally rich, stimulating environment. We help people find their voice and share their story, expressing themselves through new technologies to a global audience for a better world.
Brilliant. Thank you, Peter. That was perfect. Okay, thank you, Peter and Caroline. I think hopefully that's got everybody very excited about the business and marketing course. If anyone does have any questions for either of them, then please do put them in and we will get to those in a moment. So I'm just going to wrap up with just a couple more details about the kind of the course and also the that we'll be using this year. I've mentioned the 4 courses, and as I said at the beginning, each of the courses have a weekly industry workshop to a different location to help them learn more about that specific industry or specific side of that industry. So I won't go through every single industry workshop. You can see examples of each of the timetables for each course on our website, so I would suggest having a look at those. But I'll just highlight a couple of the workshops that we'll be doing. So for engineering students, they will be going to the Silverstone Museum to learn more about the history of motorsports and see the various exhibits there, and also have a kind of hands-on tour with interactive sessions led by a member of the Silverstone learning team as well. For our computer science students, one of the highlights from last year was the industry workshop at the National Museum of Computing. So they located in Bletchley Park, so the principal centre for sort of code breaking during the Second World War. So they will go and see the largest collection of sort of functional historic computers, and take part in an activity schedule there around things like robotics and AI, exploring the ethical implications of AI programming, and barriers to inclusive legislation, which sounds very interesting. And then finally, for the architecture students, one of the workshops that we had last year was the Inside a London tour. I think you could see a little bit of that during the video that I played earlier. So they were guided through a tour of sort of a retail design tour in London, visiting some iconic locations such as sort of Mayfair, and looking at the success of British heritage brands as well. So those are just a few examples, but as I say, do have a look online for our full schedule for this year. So just to wrap up, I just wanted to, people may be interested to know a little bit more about the venue that all of these courses will be hosted in. So this year again, which we had last year, we'll be using Doverbrooks, which is a really lovely school campus experience. Those agent partners may be familiar with Doverbrooks as a wonderful independent school. And you can see the photos here. This is the sixth form building, which is where all of our teaching will take place. They've got, you know, some nice green spaces. It's really nicely located in just outside of the city of Oxford, so it's maybe 10 minutes from the city centre by bus or by car. But it's in sort of Summertown, so it's got a really nice sort of nice villagey feel to it. And just listed some of the facilities that we have there that students will use. So obviously the common rooms are used very widely during activities and during sort of downtimes as well. We have great classrooms, labs, which is not so needed for some of the courses that we have this year, but they are available. We also have the photo at the top there is the canteen, which also kind of can be used as a multi-purpose venue. It also does come down with seating to make an auditorium. So we use that for sort of presenting. I think if you saw in Caroline's video as well, that's what they were using as their presentation space during the end for the project presentations as well. And yeah, they will be staying in, Doverbrooks have a few different boarding houses. The main one is Islip House, which is directly opposite the school. So you come out the main secure gate, there's a crossing there, and it's just right there. So very, very convenient for students. So you can see a few photos of the bedrooms there as well. And each of the boarding houses have their own sort of little kitchen area as well. Although all of the meals will be provided for students on site in our main canteen, there is a small kitchen available if people would like to make hot drinks or you know, noodles or things like that later at night. Then that is available for students. So it's a really lovely modern location, and everything is there and very, very convenient for students. So just to wrap up, I'm sure people will be wondering about the fees and the dates and locations. So as I said, the start date, people can choose from the 8th to the 22nd of July. If students would like to come for 4 weeks, it's very tricky to do that within the same course because the projects will repeat themselves. So the students would be doing the same project again. However, if students would like to take a different course, if they would like to try one in London and one in Oxford, then that option is definitely available. So the 8th or the 22nd for 2 weeks. And you can see there the weekly fees, which includes everything that's, the excursions, the meals, accommodation, tuition. The only thing that students would need to think about would be their own flights and a little bit of pocket money as well. So I just wanted to as we're coming to the end, just show this recent sort of testimonial that we have for students from a student from last year. So I'm just going to play this now.
I'm Rich, and I'm 16. I'm from Cambodia, and I'm here in Bucksmore Education in Young Professionals course. My experience in Bucksmore so far has been very great. I get to know a lot of different people from a lot of different cultures. My favorite activity would be one of our outings. For example, we go to London and Cambridge. I went on a sustainable architecture tour of London and learned about the techniques architectures have used to make our cities more sustainable. We can use it as a blueprint to make the world more greener and reach the goal of net zero. You get to use your skills that you learned before and learn now. I would say if you are thinking to come here, you should, because it's a one in a lifetime chance. You also get a portfolio for your university application, which I say is a win-win. I'm Reach, and I'm
There we go. So hopefully that inspired you a little bit from hearing from one of our students from the summer last year. So we're wrapping up now. So just to say, if anybody does have any further questions, we'll get to questions now. But anything after this that you're wondering about, we just wanted to show you our team, our admissions team. Obviously, we have a whole operations side of the team as well. But these are the contacts that you may be familiar with if you do have any questions, if you need to make any booking inquiries, then please do get in touch with us. So the next step, if you would like to find out more, I've referenced our website a little bit. So there is a lot of information on there, more videos and the timetables and things like that. So I would encourage you to have a little look if you would like more information. If you would like to apply, you've got the link there. It's also very clearly signposted on our website as well. So we do accept sort of online applications, and a £500 deposit would be required to secure your place. But as I said, get in touch if you do have any discussions. We could be happy to do a one-on-one call with one of our admissions team if you would like to just if you have more specific questions for your students. So that's all from me. I'm going to stop sharing and get to any questions that we have, and I think I saw we had a few. So I'm hoping that we can get through as many as possible. So Neil, there is a question for you, which is, do the students need to have a foundation in AI? Says AI technique, but do students need to have a background in sort of AI and computer science before they take the course or the project?
No, we will take them from the ground up. So yeah, it's entry level. That's why we're using some templates, and they'll be utilizing the AI to help them with the code as well. So it's quite a low threshold to get into the course content, with quite a high ceiling of achievement. So they'll be more than fine.
Great. So similarly, if we have students, obviously there are some that are very, very good at coding from a young age. If they do have that higher level are you able to sort of adapt the projects based on where they may be as well, if they're not entry level? Very
much so. In fact, the instructor is actually he's currently finishing up his degree in cybersecurity. He's a very, very good coder. So they'll be in very good hands. He'll be able to really stretch them. Great,
brilliant. Thank you, Neil. Okay, the next question is from Neela. Hi, Neela. How long does it take to get from the boarding house to the building? So yeah, as I said, the main boarding house that we will use is Islip House. It's directly opposite the sixth form building. So it takes 30 seconds to walk through and get through the gate. So it's very, very convenient. We do have a few other boarding houses which we may use, which are also very, very close by as well. So everything is very, very convenient. Okay, so next question is about pressure. So asking at Dover the bedroom. Yeah, so we have a mixture of different room types in Dover. So there are some singles and some twin rooms as well. And a mixture of shared and ensuite. So we can provide more details if you would like to know more. But at the moment, we have a mixture, and we don't really we can't really guarantee students will have one particular room type, and we would usually just assign them based on mixing nationalities and things like that. But do get in touch if you have any more questions about that specifically. Okay, and then we have a question about where can we find the course content, detailed version, when parents want to see content. Yeah, so on our website at the moment, we have some information. We're actually putting together, as we speak, a capstone project sort of fact sheet for students. So sort of bringing together the information that Neil and Peter and Caroline and Rob have provided today. So hopefully by the end of this week, beginning of next week, that will be available on the website. But we will be sending that out to all of our partners as well. So that will be really useful information that you can then share with your parents and clients that are asking for that. Okay, next question is from Vicky. Hi, Vicky. What is the nationality proportion in each class? So in all of our centres, we have a nationality cap of around 20% for each centre. We don't do the nationality cap divided between each individual course within the centre, so it's just an overall nationality cap of 20%. But I mean, Caroline and Neil, from your experience last year, I mean, what would you say the diversity was like for the courses that you had for business and for computer science?
Oh, we had a pretty diverse range in our course, actually. You know, we found that a lot of the students, you know, they tend to kind of veer towards people from their own country, and we would make a real deliberate effort to say, right, we're going to mingle everyone together, and it found to be a real nice balance. And you know, it was quite nice because there were no cliques or anything like that. We just had, you know, people who were a little bit more shy, talking to people who were really extroverted and groups like that. So there was a real diverse range. And I think a lot of the students improved their English from just being there as well, just in the atmosphere of just talking in an English language. So yeah, it was a real nice mix.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Karen. And I think also, obviously, we everything that we do is within an English speaking environment. So there is that sort of, whilst we're not teaching English and it is an academic-led course, the knock-on effect of actually students that coming maybe more at that intermediate level do have an opportunity to speak in an English environment for almost the whole 2 weeks. So the knock-on effect of that is that they will improve their English by that as well. Neil, anything from your from your course for last year?
Very similar to what Caroline just outlined. It was also nice to see how the stronger English speakers were able to also then translate for other students in the room as well. It was quite a diverse room. I found a lot of the children who were or the younger learners, I should say, not children, from more Eastern European countries also were kind of like trilingual. So some of them were able to actually speak one another's languages too, which was interesting, and that really helped with the English barrier too.
Yeah, and I think as we do sort of encourage that, especially within, as I said, when we're doing the rooming as well, where we do have twin rooms, we'll stick to students of different nationalities together, just to try and keep that that global diversity kind of encouraged throughout the course as well. Okay, brilliant. Hi Anna, hello. No question, but hello. And then another question is about the courses. Are they all lecture? Sorry, are all the young professional courses not lecture based, but project based? So I believe when we're talking about the projects, so the projects that Neil will run for AM Computer Science and Caroline and Rob for Architecture, Engineering and Business, they're all project based. So I mean, maybe you guys can tell us more, but not so much sitting in a classroom in a sort of lecture style. It's very hands-on, and that's the point of the project that we're trying to bring together. However, there are other sessions because the project only makes up one element of the course. So there are also some sort of theory sessions and practical sessions as well, which are outside of the project. So it's a real mix of some classroom-based stuff, but then also trying to make sure students are out and about and sort of collaborating with each other. And as Rob mentioned, sort of more problem-based learning rather than sitting and listening to a lecture. So it's a little bit of everything, I would say. Okay. So Halal has asked, can we download all the program fact sheets from the agent portal? Yes, we do already have some information on our agent portal, but as I said, we'll be putting the Capstone fact sheets together and they will be available very, very shortly. So if you have a look, hopefully by the end of this week, that will be available as well. Okay. So I'm just trying to think see if there's any questions for the team. So Rimma has asked, do they have homework? So do you set any work for outside the classroom during the summer course, or?
Well, I can only speak for my course, but we didn't set homework, but we found a lot of the students, when they were out and about on some of the day excursions, would go and film some of the projects that we were setting them outside, because a lot of ours is practical. So we want them to go and shoot interviews, you know, in a new style. We want them to shoot an advert. We want them to record a podcast. So a lot of it, they don't necessarily want to do that, obviously, inside a classroom. So we encourage it as much as possible for them to go and, you know, get their shot sequences, get their audio, whatever it might be, when they are outside of the classroom. So, you know, as we talk about a mix of practical and theory learning, it is a case that, especially within the Capstone project, we want them to be thinking about it and talking about what they're learning, you know, as they're going about, when they're going, you know, into their dorms or when they're on their downtime, you know, always just thinking of their projects as they move through the week. And especially with ours, it's like trying to integrate what they're learning on the business course as well as what they're doing on all the other courses, because it's all of this learning can really, you know, come together for their final projects. So it is nice. So it is something that we do encourage, but it's not required. But we do find a lot of the students like to go above and beyond, which is nice because, you know, they're excited about what they're learning. So
right. And Neil, anything?
Yeah, nothing required. But you know, when you sink your teeth into a project, if anything like me, it goes into overdrive. You know, you want to achieve the best that you can. So what I've done to facilitate this is that I've created a series of YouTube videos, which are so once they finish their session, it's kind of like a condensed highlights of what the session was about and some tutorials as well. So if they want to continue working on their games in the evening, because it's nice and easy, they got their laptop, they go through to their dorm, they're able then to watch those YouTube videos, recap on the learning, and hopefully those tutorials will answer some questions for them, and they're able to continue with their code and they share what they've done the next day.
Brilliant. I would say, I mean, obviously you saw from the timetable, like it's quite a packed schedule, so there's not always time to be also doing sort of homework as well. So we also want to make sure that students have fun whilst they're here. They get to explore the UK a little bit. So we kind of tried to make that balance of obviously making sure that students can do the projects, can learn as much as they want, but also that they come away having had a reasonably good, you know, more than reasonably good, but a pretty good time whilst they're here as well. So it's balancing those things as well. Okay, I'm just gonna answer one last question because I realise we are at our time now. So the last question is from Yulia, which is about what is the difference between our young professionals and pre-university course. Thank you for that question. It's a very good question. All of our young professionals courses that we've spoken about today and the ones that we have in London, as I think hopefully has been demonstrated from our partners, a lot of very, very practical application of learning that about that subject or about that industry. So they have the elements of the projects. They do have some theory and some practical involvement as well. So that I would say is the significant thing about the young professionals courses. We do have a pre-university course, which is more of a university preparation course. This is for slightly older students, so 15 to 18-year-olds. And this is more taught at a undergraduate level. So it is more classroom based than I would say the young professionals is. It brings in other elements of university study. So they have small seminars, they have bigger lectures, guest lectures, we have university preparation classes. So it's slightly different in that maybe once students are a little bit older, they have a little bit more of a solid idea of what they want to study at university. And this is really a 2 or 4 week experience of being in university and being at the University of Oxford as well. So it hopefully that gives you that clear distinction. I'm trying to sort of summarize that very, very quickly. But if you need any more details, please do get in touch. Okay, I think we're going to leave it there. Thank you so much to Neil and to Peter, Caroline, and Rob, who obviously had to leave us slightly early. But thank you so much for you guys joining and really bringing to life the projects that students will do on these courses. If anybody does have any questions after this, please do get in touch and I can get answers from the rest of the team, and we'll share the presentation and the resources that we've mentioned as well after the call. So thank you everybody, and have a nice rest of your day and or evening.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.